Hello all, Paul Long, how to buy a business using an SBA loan. In this video, we are going to talk about down payments for business acquisition loans, and this information is updated with the new SBA rules that came out November 15th, 2023. Let's get into the fun of down payments because there's a lot to talk about on this. So first and foremost, business acquisitions do require 10% down. That's in the SOP. Okay, so 10% is the absolute norm. In a perfect world, a lender would like to see that in 10% cash of the overall project cost, not the 10% of the loan amount, 10% of the project cost. Now, keep in mind the project cost is everything from your fees to the business acquisition to working capital to everything, 10% of that. Okay. They have taken out of the SOP that you do need to have 10% for a startup business. Now, I'm going to use some common sense on this. 99% of lenders out there, because startup loans are so risky, will require more than 10% for a startup or a special use business. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's always a difference between sometimes what a lender can do and what the SBA says, okay? Now, what's really awesome in the new SOP is we can do a combination of things, okay? So we can do a combination of an SBA loan and a seller note and the down payment. So we can get really crafty. And here's how we do that. So what we can do is we can, of course, have a part of your we can, as a part of the SBA SOP, you can buy a business now with 0% down, okay? That means your 10%, like I said earlier, can be in the form of a seller note that's on full standby for the life of the loan or 24 months from the seller, okay? Full standby means no payments, no interest, okay? Now, that's how that can go in order to get you into a business at 0%. Keep in mind, there's a difference between SBA SOP and what a lender will do, okay? However, keep that in mind. There's also partial standby, which is known as interest-only payments that are being made. And so how that works is you can use a seller note for a part of your down payment if the seller wants to get you in the business, but at least a quarter of that required equity injection, that 10%, has to be from a source other than the seller, also known as you, okay? So that means that you can have, let's say, for example, 3% down, and then you can have 7% on a partial standby note, interest-only note from the seller where they received interest payments for 24 months, and then it goes principal and interest. So that's another new way of doing that. So the SBA and banks are trying to find new creative ways to get people into businesses, especially for those who are working at their current business and they're wanting to buy the business that they're currently working in. That is why there's so much flexibility with the standby, the partial standby, etc. The biggest thing that I do want you to understand, though, is that the more down payment that you have, the more banks and credit unions are willing to help in that case. So keep that in mind, because remember, there's SBA rules and then there's lender rules. So it may take you a little while to find the right lender who's willing to do what you're wanting to do in that case. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you on another video.